Hey guys and girls, welcome to another edition of Bolts Breakdown. Bryan Burns, beat writer for TampaBayLightning.com. Jay Recher, 95.3 WDAE. We'll talk a lot about the game tonight, Burnsy, against the Columbus Blue Jackets, and a familiar face behind the bench for them in John Tortorella. We'll also talk about the last game. The Lightning and Nikita Kucherov's streak finally come to an end in that loss to San Jose. We'll get into that in a second. But just a real quick note on what we heard from John Cooper today after morning skate. Andrei Vasilevskiy, I know a lot of news coming out now that Carey Price will not be participating for the Atlantic Division in the All-Star game. All signs look like they point towards Andrei Vasilevskiy, and not a lot of people really understood, well, is it the coach's choice? Because as most of you know, that John Cooper is the head coach of the Atlantic Division. You know, you think of a guy, maybe Freddie Anderson, but he's on IR right now. Maybe a guy like Carter Hutton, but even playing pretty much the whole season, Andrei Vasilevskiy's numbers are better than Carter Hutton's. Now that the decision has to be made, I know Montreal somehow needs a person to represent them, but do you think that Andrei Vasilevskiy will get the nod to replace Price?
I mean, yeah, it's certainly looking that way, and it'll be the second in a row for Andrei Vasilevskiy to get that All-Star nomination. And it's kind of weird when you look at, like, Louis Domingue was, above him for wins up until this last road trip, just for that month that Andrei Vasilevskiy had to miss with the broken left foot. But I think it's well-deserved if it is, in fact, Vasilevskiy being named to the All-Star game. That would give the Lightning 3 players, possibly 4 with Braden Point. We still got that coming up. We don't know how that vote's going. And then, of course, John Cooper will be behind the bench as well. So plenty of representation for the Lightning at this All-Star game, just like last season.
And as always, we want to hear from you right here on Bolts Breakdown. Put right there at the bottom of the screen where you're watching from. Also, share this on your Facebook. Put shared, and we'll shout you out as always. We broke this last time we were together on Bolts Breakdown about voting for Braden Point, NHL.com/vote. You can go on there as well as the Lightning website, TampaBayLightning.com, lightning.nhl.com, and we have it all over our pages, 95.3 WDAE. Just click the Best Bolts Coverage tab. We got it up on the Ron and Ian page as well at ronandian.com. There's so many different ways to find out how to vote for Braden Point to get him in there as that last man in. That fan vote is huge. And
You've been doing your 10 votes today?
Every day, man, every day. And we, like I said, we broke it right here on Bolts Breakdown. We got the link up, so you can go to the last episode of Bolts Breakdown on our Facebook page here and check out all the info on there 10 times a day. Within that 24-hour period, you can vote. And listen,
is it tomorrow when it ends?
It's the 10th. So today is the 8th, so it'll be 2 more days. So it'll be at midnight or 11:59 on Thursday. So we'll be talking about this and imploring everybody to vote for Braden Point on Thursday's edition of Bolts Breakdown, as well as we break down the Carolina Hurricanes coming into Amalie Arena on Thursday night. Hopefully after the Bolts get back to their winning ways. And Burnsy, looking at that game the other night in San Jose, I know some people at Morning Skate today were saying, oh, well, the Lightning thought they played well. I didn't think they played very well at all. I think it got worse as the game went on, and, it happens. It happens. It's one of those things at the end of a road trip. You're playing a pretty good team in San Jose and a really good home team in San Jose. And you just got to tip your hat and look at how many points you accrued on that West Coast trip. And you put it behind you and just get ready for Columbus tonight.
Yeah, you're not going to win them all. And I think that was pretty much the sentiment from that San Jose game. And I really feel like the Lightning just ran out of gas in that game. If you look through the first 30 minutes or so, they were able to kind of stick with it. They had a lot of bad luck in that game. I thought San Jose maybe got a couple goals that you wouldn't normally see Andrei Vasilevskiy give up, and then the Lightning hit about 3 or 4 posts in that game. Or one of those goes in, we could be talking about a 17-game point streak right now. But I felt like as that game went on, once the Lightning, they cut it to 1 with Hedman's goal in the first period. San Jose built it back up to a 2-goal lead. The Lightning, again, were able to cut it to 1 on Mikhail Sergachev's first goal of the season. Long time coming for him, and rightfully so. The celebration you saw from him from getting that monkey off his back, that was a big moment for him. But you felt like if the Lightning could maybe get that next goal, they could probably get a point, maybe 2 out of that game. I think once they gave up that 4th goal again, they were tired. They just really didn't have I don't think they had the push, the fight back to come back from another 2-goal deficit in that game. And John Cooper talked a little bit about it. It seemed like a long trip. They were only out there for 3 games, but they were out there for about 7-8 days. Just for them, it felt like that they were out there for a while to be playing so few games. So I think that San Jose game was a little bit of fatigue at the end of a road trip, fatigue at the end of a long stretch, a great stretch for the Lightning, and just the team ready to come back home.
Yeah, without a doubt, and we're seeing some of the Columbus Blue Jackets out there getting ready for the game tonight. Looks like Korpisalo in the still out there, so it'll probably be Sergei Bobrovsky and Andrei Vasilevsky if I had to take a guess tonight. A battle of the two best Russian goaltenders on the planet, so that'll be pretty fun as well. Big shout out to David Throckmorton Jr. Good afternoon from Wikiwachi. Go Lightning. Timothy Ferron. Go Bolts from France. There you go, Burnsy. All over, as always, right here
Have you ever been to France?
No, have you?
I have not.
Oh.
It's on the bucket list.
Yeah, it sure is. We always want to hear from you right here, just like Jordana saying hello from Hollywood. Let us know where you're watching Bolts Breakdown from. Put it there on the bottom of the screen. Let us know that you shared this on your Facebook so we can shout you out, like our good buddy John Zaleski, who's always watching. And, of course, we mentioned a little bit before, still no news yet on who is going to replace Carey Price. We're hoping that it's a guy like Andrei Vasilevsky, and we're imploring everybody out there to make sure you go out there and vote for Braden Point. You can vote 10 times in a 24-hour period. You can check it out on lightning.nhl.com, 953wdae.com, nhl.com. Vote. Do it all. Rick and Joanne Serdinsky, and this is something that we saw on the text line yesterday during the Ron and Ian show, which you can hear every day, 3 to 7 on 95.3 WDA. Are you concerned about the goals against each game? Burnsy, what do you think?
Well, I mean, I think it's a concern. Julien Brisebois said it's probably the one area that they would like to clean up in their game, that they're giving up a little bit too many goals, more goals than they'd like to give up at this point in the season. I think they're around middle of the pack, 15th, 16th in the league for goals against, which is okay. That number is probably around like 2.9 goals against per game. They'd like to see that closer, like 2.2, 2.1. They'd like to be in the top 10 for goals against. I think it is a concern. The Lightning have shown that they can outscore other teams right now, so right now it really hasn't been that concerning. I think this team does have it in them to play really good defensively when they want to stick to that structure, when they want to go into a game with that focus and that mindset. They obviously have one of the best goaltenders in the world in Andrei Vasilevsky. They have a really good blue line. Ryan McDonough coming in this year has really helped solidify things back there, and Eric Chernak as well. Those two have been a great partnership. And the forwards, I feel like, have been a lot better this year about playing defensively, not sticking to the structure, not leaking out a little bit too early, trying to get that break going the other way. So I think they have the elements to be a good team defensively. I think it's just a matter of focusing on that area of their game. And I think you'll see that as this team gets closer to the end of the regular season and going into a playoff run. I think they'll know that that's how they're going to have to win games.
Do you think that it has something to do with the defense changing and how they were doing with as far as sitting guys out and trying to get that rotation with Chernak in? And it looked like I wouldn't be surprised if Chernak doesn't play tonight. He was one of the final two guys on the ice with JT Miller, and we know JT Miller's still banged up a little bit. I mean, he was out there skating. I don't see him returning tonight. But Eric Chernak being out there and being one of the last guys out there, I wouldn't be surprised if he's scratched and Braden Coburn gets back in the lineup. But do you think that them changing up the D, as they have been doing as far as that rotation, do you think that may be kind of going hand in hand with why they're struggling defensively?
I don't think so, because if you look at that California road trip, the first two games they actually played really well defensively. They only gave up a couple goals in each of those games, and I think they were getting back to that structure and how they want to play defensively. So I don't know necessarily that. I think more than anything, it's just a circumstance of where they are in the season. I think losing Vasilevsky, even though Louis Domingue did really well during that timeout, I think losing Vasilevsky kind of lends to those goals against numbers being a little higher than they'd like. I don't think Vasilevsky's quite back to where he'd like to be pre-injury. That Toronto game, he was absolutely fantastic, but since then, I don't know that we've really seen the Andrei Vasilevsky that we're used to seeing night in and night out. So I think once he gets back into a comfort level, gets some more starts under his belt, I think you'll see those goals against numbers naturally go back down, and you'll see the Lightning play better defensively.
Brian Burns, beat writer for TampaBayLightning.com. Make sure you follow him on Twitter at BBurnsNHL. Jay Recher, 95.3 WDAE. Follow me at Jay Recher. Come on, guys. Someone day big. Josh McIvor. Is there anyone out there who can shut down Cooch right now? I love seeing him be on fire like this, like he is this season. I don't know. I mean, they shut him down the other night in San Jose, but I wouldn't be surprised if he has a big game tonight. Jordana warns Columbus totally has control of the puck against the Panthers the other night. Is there a concern for controlling the puck tonight against them? What John Cooper talked about before, and I don't want to get into your three keys too quickly, but he talked about, and I know a lot of the players talked about, that this is a very kind of similar to a West Coast team. They're a little bigger. They're not as, kind of fast up and down. They like to use that big body. I think of guys like, I know he's not in the lineup probably tonight, Nick Foligno, but guys like Josh Anderson. There's some big boys on this team in Columbus.
Yeah, and a really good blue line as well. But then you look at what the Lightning were able to do to Columbus the first time these two teams played, and it was like 8-2. I think it was like the third game of the season.
Yeah.
Everybody was talking about the first two games. Oh, why can't the Lightning score? The Lightning never going to score more than a couple goals a game, and then they yeah, they score 8 goals, and here we are halfway through the season, and you're seeing a team that's putting up historic goal numbers right now. More than they're on pace for more goals than any in franchise history, and probably you have to go all the way back to like 95, 96 before you see a team, if they continue to score at this current pace, that will project out to put a team to put up goals numbers in those amounts. So do I worry about Columbus having control of the puck? I mean, I guess you worry about that with every team you play, but you've seen this Lightning team, they pretty much dominate possession against any team that they play against. So I don't necessarily think one team's going to come in here. If anything, it might just be a down night for the Lightning, where maybe Columbus has a little bit more possession of the puck. But I think when both teams are playing pretty equally, I don't think the Lightning will play second fiddle to anybody as far as puck possession.
They're going to have to make the adjustment to the Lightning rather than the Lightning making the adjustment to them, for sure. All right, what are your 3 keys to victory tonight for the Bolts, Bernsey?
Yeah, for me, number one is just, don't let a negative streak start. You see this a lot of times in the NHL. You saw it with Buffalo especially, where they had that 10-game win streak, and they came in here and the Lightning were able to beat them. And then Buffalo kind of went on a little bit of a skid there. So when you really want to kind of nip these things in the bud, don't let one loss turn into 2 losses or 3 losses or 4 losses. So for me, that's kind of a big thing. Get back to those winning ways. Do those things that let you win, 7 games in a row. That got you a 16-game point streak. And I think they will. I don't think that San Jose game was anything where it was like the Lightning got out of their structure or did anything different from what they've been doing. Again, we just think it was the case of a team being fatigued at the end of a long road trip. So that's number one for me, just kind of nipping these losing skids in the bud. Number 2 for me is take advantage of the power plays. The first time these two teams met, Columbus and Tampa Bay, the Lightning scored 4 power play goals. It was the second most power play goals they've ever had in a regular season game. And then you look at where Columbus is, they rank 30th in the league on the power play. They've only scored 16 power play goals this season. The Lightning, they have 43.
Holy smokes.
So there's a big discrepancy there between both teams' power plays. The Lightning have a clear advantage on the power play. They need to take advantage of those opportunities that they get tonight, because Columbus doesn't take a lot of penalties. They're second in the league for penalties giving up. So clear advantage to the Lightning. Take advantage of those power plays, and that'll be a big key to tonight's game. And then number 3 for me, no to number 600. John Tortorella is coming up on his 600th victory in the NHL. If he can get one more victory, he will have number 600. So we know, everybody loves John Tortorella for what he did here in Tampa Bay, for winning that Stanley Cup back in 2004, and obviously those milestones and achievements are well warranted for John Tortorella. But let's not let him get number 600 here. Let him do it wherever they play next.
Not happening here. My one guy to watch, Artemi Panarin, 45 points on the year this year. 13 goals, 32 assists. He's a +9. Unrestricted free agent after the season. I wouldn't be surprised. I mentioned this to Bernsey on the elevator on the way up. I wouldn't be surprised, Bernsey, if this is the last time you see him in a Blue Jackets jersey in this arena. There's a lot of rumors of him possibly going to the Rangers.
See Bobrovsky, too.
Bobrovsky's
rumors of him
another
maybe going
guy
to Florida, which is an odd one.
Man, Bobrovsky with Luongo and James Reimer. Somebody's heading back the other way. But yeah, Artemi Panarin, one of the most dynamic players in the entire league. Saw him and Nikita Kucherov kind of talking before the game. They're old buddies as well. Just one of the, as I said, one of the most dynamic players. He's a guy you just have to keep your eye on. They did a good job in the first game of not letting him get loose.
Yeah.
Don't let him get loose. And him and a guy like Cam Atkinson, they have some good players, and a lot of their offense comes from their blue line. You look at Seth Jones, scored the game winner the other night against the Panthers down in Sunrise.
Yeah.
And then also a guy like Zach Werenski. This is a pretty talented D-core That's one of the things. Don't let them get stirring early. Once you get those guys back on their heels and prevent them from jumping in on the rush and make them feel like they're part of the offense, I think that's how you shut a team like this down. That's exactly what the Lightning did the first time. Hopefully they can do the same thing again. Sorry, our broadcast a little interrupted a couple times, but it sounds like things are going better. Lisa Hartley wants to know, I was wondering about the talk I heard of Vazzy being a little slow. Are you saying you still don't think Vazzy is 100% right now? I don't think we're saying he's not 100%. I just think, I think some of that adrenaline in that first game at Toronto kind of carried him through maybe some of the rust.
The moment, too.
Yeah, the moment rising to that occasion. I'd rather him be able to bang off some of that rust in games 40 to 45 and to be healthy and ready to go down the stretch into another long playoff run. I think that injury was probably a little bit of a blessing in disguise, and if he's going through a little bit of a kind of feeling out process, I don't think it's like kind of, earth shattering or, you know what I mean? One of those things where it's like everything's going wrong kind of thing.
Yeah, and I think that's why you're seeing him. He's getting another start tonight. There'll be 7 in a row now
When do you think we will see Louis? Because I know somebody asked that before.
Yeah, I mean,
I thought Louis would play one of the games on the road trip.
I thought he'd go against Los Angeles. I was really surprised that Vasilevsky started that game. I thought that would be a good opportunity to get Louis in. They got a back-to-back coming up Saturday in Buffalo, Sunday against the New York Islanders. I think he'll get one of those games. Probably put him in the second half of the back-to-back. You'll probably see him in Brooklyn. That would be my guess. But I thought he's going to be in LA too. So don't go setting your fantasy hockey lineup according to what I say.
Well, your birthday is going to be Sunday, so that should be fun as well, and you'll be up in Brooklyn, so that'll be great. But, we got one more Bolts breakdown before then, of course. Bryan Burns, beat writer for TampaBayLightning.com. Make sure you follow him on Twitter at BBurnsNHL. Follow the team at TB Lightning. Go to TampaBayLightning.com for the best news and notes. What's your story this morning?
Yeah, we'll just be talking about the trying to stem these losing tides or losing streaks, not letting one loss turn into 2 or 3, and what the Lightning have to do to get back, maybe start another win streak.
Nice. Jay Recher, follow me at JRecher, 95.3 WDAE. Follow us there on Twitter. Go to 95.3 WDAE.com for the best Bolts coverage. Remember, Ron and Ian from 3 to 7 today. We'll have Bobby the Chief Taylor at 3:30, and then guy that knows hockey pretty well, Jody Shelley, longtime NHL player.
Say Jody Royce.
Jody Royce, no. Jody Shelley. I saw him in the locker room downstairs, so he'll be joining the guys at 5:30 as I head over here to Amalie Arena. All right, remember, vote for Braden Point. Get out there. It's all over the place on TampaBayLightning.com as well as RonandIan.com, 95.3 WDAE.com. Go out there and vote. That's going to wrap it up for Brian. I'm Jay. We'll see you Thursday right here on Bolts Breakdown.